When we think about climate change, sea level rise, and its consequences, we tend to believe that it is something which is going to happen in a very distant future. But there are already some communities who are facing the consequences associated with the climate change and sea level rise. Now we know that there are many Pacific islands which are facing the issue of sea level rise and sinking. And again, we tend to believe that it is happening far away in the Pacific. Now, we can see that there are examples of sea level rise and subsequent sinking of land which is happening in India too. Now, there is a very good example in the case of the Ghoramara Islands of West Bengal. Now, this is an island which is part of the Sundarbans. This is located in the 24 North Pargana district of West Bengal. And this particular island has lost almost 50% of its land due to sea level rise and subsequent sinking. Now, this is very evident from the fact that there is a consistent depopulation which is happening in this island. It has lost most of its population due to outmigration. Many of them are actually climate migrant or climate refugees. Now, the population of this island in 1960s was around 25,000. Now it is only 5,000. Now, what are the consequences of sea level rise and subsequent sinking of an island? Now, one which is very directly visible is the physical impacts or physical consequences. Now, there will be infrastructure loss of both public as well as private assets. Now, we can see that people will be losing their house, there will be sinking of the market or sinking of schools or other public buildings. People will be losing their agricultural land. They'll be losing their livelihood. Now, this is something which is very directly visible and obvious. Now, in addition to this, there will be a lot of other consequences. Like there will be socio-cultural consequences, emotional or psychological consequences. Now, one such issue that the people, especially the young men of this island, is facing is that they are unable to find bride. They are remaining unmarried. Now, it is because nobody is willing to get married to a person who is living in this island. And the parents in this island, parents of girls from this island, are actually trying to help their daughters to move out of this island by getting themselves married to someone outside the island. Similarly, you can see that people who have lost their livelihood, lost their assets, and who are unmarried may be finding a lot of issues with respect to, say, loneliness and general sense of, say, pessimism and general sense of having to face a very bleak future. Right. So this is what is happening in this island. Now, when we look at what is happening, it has been happening for, say, a few decades. It is not something which is very, very new. This is something which is happening for a few decades. And we can see that there is political apathy. The political parties are not concerned about the issues of the islanders. So, friends, we can see that this is something which is going to happen in many parts of India in the very recent future. Now, in addition to the island of Ghoramara, there is the issue of sinking happening in many other islands. So there are islands which has disappeared in Lakshadweep. So there was this island called Parali Island. Now, similarly, there is an island in Kerala called Mandro Island, which is also facing the issue of sinking. Now, in some of these cases, there are other factors also involved other than the issue of climate change and sea level rise. Say, for example, construction of a dam can restrict the deposition of new sediments, which might be balancing the erosion. Okay. Now, this can actually lead to sinking. Now, similarly, you can see that there will be loss of land along the coast. Okay. Along the coast, people are losing their land due to, say, excessive erosion, storm surges, etc. Now, all of these things are happening. But as a nation, as a state, we are many times failing to address or failing to even identify that this is happening. Now, in addition to the sinking effects, you can also see that at individual level or at community level, village level, people are getting affected by climate change related issues. Say, for example, an excessive rainfall, high intensity rainfall leading to landslide. Similarly, floods. These are all causing a lot of difficulties for people around the country. Now, sometimes we may not be able to find solution for some of these issues related to climate change, but in some cases we'll be able to at least reduce the impact. We'll be able to mitigate the impact of the climate change. Now, in some case, obviously, people will be forced to migrate out of their native region. That means there is going to be climate refugees. We should be having some say policy regarding how to ensure rehabilitation of the climate refugees. The issue that we are facing now with respect to climate change and many of the other serious issues can be well understood from this Hollywood movie called Don't Look Up. Now, when an asteroid was coming towards the Earth, we were advised not to look up to the sky. It is something similar to that which is happening with respect to climate change as well as many other important issues that we are facing today. We are unable to address or even identify that there is an issue. Now, only when we identify that there is an issue, then only we will be able to act upon it. Climate change is something which we need to address as a group. We need to find scientific, actionable mitigation measures, and probably we as a community will be able to at least try to ensure that the consequences of climate change is minimized. Let us all hope that we as a nation, as a community, will be able to act upon as an intelligent being to reduce the consequences of climate change. Thank you.
Come and join I Learn IAS and feel the difference.